Hi friends, it's Claire from ScrappyNerd UK, and today I have part 2 of some DIY embellishments for the December Daily album. So first of all, I'm going to make a vellum insert for my album. So I've just grabbed one of the sleeves from the Ali Edwards album, and I'm just going to cut my vellum down to size. And then next I use that as a template to punch the holes in to make sure I've got them at the right size. It's just a single hole punch that I have. And I'm going to decorate it using some fun foam, craft foam, and some gold glitter cardstock. So I'm using a snowflake die, and I'm just running it through my Big Shot to cut out 4 of the large snowflakes that have the inners in them as well, and I'm going to separate them, and you'll see you need to get an even amount to apply to the front and the back. So next I just cut out these little 1/2-inch circles, and I'm just going to stick them over the holes. These are just going to be reinforcers to stop it from tearing whilst it's in the album. And then next, I do apologise about the light here. I'm not too sure why the light isn't too bright on this video, but I have asked Santa for some studio lights for Christmas, so that should help improve it in the new year. So next I'm just gluing down these snowflakes, and on the reverse, now that glue's dry on those circles, I'm just going to punch the holes for those so this can fit straight into the album. And then next you'll see I've got 4 of the gold snowflakes, and I've got 4 of the bigger ones and 4 of the smaller ones, so I've put 2 on each side, and then I'm just going to glue them back to back so you don't see the reverse of the vellum with the glue. And then I'm just going to leave that to one side to dry. And then next I move on to using these doily dies. These are a Sizzix die, and again I'm using the white foam, and I've already pre-cut one of them out, and I'm just doing this other one as well. And then I'm going to use these to layer some pieces on top. So I'm going to use some of the gold glitter foam and this little Christmas tree die, and I've already pre-cut one of those out, so I'm just going to pop it on there, and it's looking a bit bare, so I decided to add on a little sentiment that says Merry Christmas. And I made these little sentiments from using the Christmas roller phrase stamp, which I think is by American Crafts, and I'm just sticking down that gold Christmas tree, and just use my tiny attacher to attach the Merry Christmas sentiment. And if you haven't seen the first part of my DIY embellishments, then do go back and have a look at that, and that will show you some other ideas and how I made those little effectively tiny word stickers, but they're just on cardstock. And then next I'm just using this little gingerbread man die, and I'm just cutting out 3 little gold glitter gingerbread men, and I know that I want to use these on the other foam doily, so I'm just pushing those out of the card, getting rid of the little buttonholes, and then I lay these down. And initially I was just going to add these 3 little these 3 little gingerbread men. So I just lay them across the doily, see how I like it, and then I decide that I do want to add something else. So I add this little gold glitter Noel in, and again that's just come from a die, and you'll see shortly these little dies that I use for another layout. And there we are, and again just leaving those to one side just to dry. And then these little 2x2 squares, I've decided that I don't want to fill them with anything too bulky, and so I grab these Christmas dies. Now if you're in the UK, these dies came from the Works, and these were £5, which is really good value. And so I just start cutting out these words that say, one says Noel, one says happy, one says wishes, one says joy. So I do this for all of them, and I just use my little diamond press machine there to cut them out. There we go. And then all I do is just grab my 2x2 sheet, and I just start laying them on the page just to see where I'd like them. I may well add one or two embellishments, maybe a wood veneer, maybe a flare, just to finish this off. But I'm quite happy with these gold glitter words, and I'm just using some glossy accents to stick them down. Giving it a second to dry, and back in the sleeve it goes. And then you'll see here that one slightly overhangs, so don't be scared just to cut them down. You can still see the word says Merry on that, and again just adding that into the album. And I think this is the last one that I've got to do. And you'll know that cutting out anything in sort of glitter card is sometimes quite problematic because of how thick it is, but these came out fairly well. I was really pleased with these. And again, the W is just going to overhang, so again I'm just going to snip down the edge to get rid of the extra bit. And then that goes in, and then I'll just give you a bit of a close-up of what I've done here. I'm really happy with that. There will be some close-ups at the end for you as well of everything that I've made. And just putting these in the album. I'm not going to adhere them down because I like the flexibility of being able to move them if I don't like the position of where I put them in the album for the minute. And then next, I've been using a 6x6 pad to make my filler cards, and I always end up with these little 2x6 strips, and so I've kept them. And I'm just going to make some tags out of them. So you need to cut these strips, already cut into 2 inch, you need to cut them down to 3.5 inch rectangles, and make sure you keep both bits because you are going to need both. So the longer ones are actually going to form the tag, and the other ones I'll show you in a minute what you need to do with the other ones. Then you need to cut the white strips to 1 7/8 by 3 3/8. And this will mean it will fit perfectly on top of the tag. And then next just cut 2 triangles out the top to form your tag shape. You could be more precise than what I've been, but I'm not fussy. And then just grab your white cardstock and line it up with the top edge as I'm doing here, and then use that as a guide to cut the white cardstock so you get the same for each tag. Just making sure those fit. Now I'm showing you 2 tags on here, but I only do one of these because the process is the same. So on here I just take the white cardstock and I just cut out the shape of the snowflake on this one that I'm using. And then I grab that offcut, the bit that I said do keep hold of, and I'm just running that through the machine as well to get a cut of the same paper. and this will give me the snowflake shape that I want. And this one's a bit reluctant to come out of the steel die, but there we go, I've got it out, and I'm just going to pull the middle bit out. And so I just go about layering this up. So I'm just going to overlap that there, so you've got the pattern underneath, and then it matches the pattern on the snowflake that I've just put on. And then on this one, I decide just to, I'll just stick down the snowflake, and I decide to bump this one up with a bit of double-sided foam, just to give it a little bit of height. Just making sure that's firmly stuck down. So here we are, just adding the foam on. And then I'll show you another one that I made as well, where I didn't add the foam and I just stuck it straight down onto the backing. Quite like both of them, to be honest. A good idea if you are going to put that top layer up on some foam is to punch your tag hole first. You'll see in a second that I struggled a bit with the foam tape being on there. So I'm just using these little rose gold pearl dots and just creating a little cluster. You can stamp a sentiment on there as well if you wish, but I decided to go with the little dots. And here we are, as me struggling to try and punch it with the foam in there, but I got it through okay. And there we are. There's one, and I'm just showing you the Christmas tree one that I'd made previously. And this here, I decided to use the other tag just to mount this this Christmas tree. I'd actually stamped and die cut earlier, and I got it free with a paper crafting magazine. And so I just popped that on there. And I decided I don't want to do anything else with that. I quite like that. So again, just adding these into the pockets, where I think they'll look nice for the minute. But as I said, I'm not sticking them down, so if I want to move these around, then it's easy enough for me to do. There we are. And then next, I'm just going to show you something else that I've made. I don't show you the process, but I will just talk you through, because I understand that you're not all going to have the same sort of tools and equipment that I have. But this is just a little filler card that I made, and again, I got this little fireplace embossing folder, free with a magazine. I had a little stocking die, and that came from the range. And that's the Christmas sentiment that I got in the pack from the work. So all I did here was die cut out the, I embossed the fireplace and cut that out. Die cut the two little stockings and added mine and my husband's initials on, and the little Christmas sentiment. So that is part 2 of the DIY embellishment. So I hope you've enjoyed what I've made, and I hope you decide to follow along. And there's plenty more of this series to come from me, including some more DIY embellishments. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys.